just on the basis for which the US took this strike, is it, I don't know whether any more information has come out about it, but is it true to say that an attack was imminent?
It may well be. I mean, you heard Secretary of Defense Esper had been saying in the days leading up to this that we had intelligence, said that there were risk of Iranian attacks. But I do take issue with the claim that this strike somehow prevented, attacks, that they were going to come. Because, look, as important as Soleimani was, he was one cog, and he was immediately replaced. This is an entire apparatus that covers a number of countries across that region that he was in charge of. And if there were any plots going on, they would certainly still be engaged. But now then, on top of that, whatever was engaged, you also have the revenge factor, which is highly an emotionally charged issue over there. And so now the risk to our troops is substantially higher than it was. So I don't agree with the Secretary of State on that.
But what basically we're saying then is if you want to seriously dent Iranian chances of using proxies and engaging in terrorist activities across the world, you have to have a regime change.
Well, I dispute that as well because, look, I mean, you were talking about just a second ago the JCPOA when it was done. Yes, it had some flaws and it had some holes, but it was definitely a constraint on Iranian activity, both on their nuclear, specifically on their nuclear round, but also on their behavior in the region, all of which has spiked since we pulled out of that. So my strong admonition is, number one, our troops need to be withdrawn from there because all they are is have targets on their back and they don't do anything for our security. But secondly, look, President Trump came into office claiming that he was going to get rid of the JCPOA and negotiate a better deal. If you want a better deal, you have to be willing to negotiate, and that means that the other side has to get something that they want. That's just the very inherent part of negotiating. I mean, that's 101. And until we start doing that, actual negotiating where the other side has a chance to get something, then this is going to continue on, and the chances of war are going to go up.
I think you're right. And by the way, it was the suggestion from the Trump administration not that long ago that they were looking, as you say, for a new Iran deal that did kind of what the old deal was doing, but maybe further broadened it to cruise and ballistic missiles. I wonder whether the chance of a Trump-Rouhani meetup have increased.
I mean, boy, I would be cheering that because anything that takes this out of the escalation and counter-escalation military realm into the diplomatic realm would be a tremendous relief for everybody involved and something I would strongly advocate.
I just wonder too, finally, as a former member of the US Army, what it means for the fight against ISIS that operation has been suspended because of the need to shore up US and UK assets in the region as a result of the killings.
Well, I mean, without question, I mean, if it's suspended, then you realize there was no point in having us even there in the first place because, let me just be blunt, because I've conducted these operations in both Afghanistan and Iraq, and I can tell you for a fact, with the tiny number of troops that we have over there, we weren't doing any kind of meaningful anti-ISIS stuff because they've been driven underground anyway once we took their physical caliphate with the loss of Raqqa and Mosul. And so that's the reason why I say we need to come out, because right now, even our cooperation with the Iraqi military has also been suspended, which means in practical terms, those troops, all the American and Western troops that are there now are just sitting in the desert defending themselves. That's it. And that is not a military objective that any nation should have, and those troops should be withdrawn.